Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Friday. We've made it to the end of the week. Your reward, 3 hours of sports talk coming your way on the sports voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device, on the MSC radio app, and of course, in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. However, wherever, whenever you're tuning in to the program today, thank you so much for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuy will be along in the 4 o'clock hour. We are with you until 6. It'll be an hour interregnum. Dave Ramsey will get to talk at you for a while. And then Royals baseball tonight as the Royals open a series in Denver against the Colorado Rockies. A 7:40 first pitch tonight. That's 6:40 Mountain Time. 7:40 our time. First pitch, meaning the Royals Radio Network takes over the airwaves at 7 o'clock with the pregame coverage here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. And who is a Royal today that will not be a Royal when we reconvene on Monday? Will there be anyone? Will it just be Lane Thomas? Are the Royals prepared to botch the trade deadline that badly? We'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. And aren't you lucky, folks? Lucky, a relative term, but there is no sports talk show on the planet that is better equipped to give you an in-depth preview of the most meaningless series of baseball games being played this weekend across Major League Baseball between two last-place teams, two sellers at this trade deadline, the Kansas City Royals and Colorado Rockies. No radio show on the planet is better equipped to talk about those teams playing each other than this one. Aren't you lucky? Anyway, we'll save that for later. We're not leading the program with Rockies Royals. I'm not gonna do that to you guys. We are gonna talk some football today. Lots to get to from day 3 of full team workouts at Kansas City Chiefs camp. We had our first injury casualty of some note. I say that like it's, they had the card out and everything, and no, hopefully not that severe. It doesn't immediately appear to be season ending, but it does derail a young player at a position of need for the Chiefs, and another kind of forgotten player at that same position maybe taking advantage of an added opportunity. Plus, folks, if you're not aboard, if you have not purchased your tickets for the Cyrus Allen hype train, it's going to sell out if you don't jump on board. There's still some room, but that train's about to leave the station. So now's the time to hop aboard the Cyrus Allen hype train. He had another notable day at Chiefs training camp today. We'll also get some audio from camp. Andy Reid spoke today. We'll hear what Big Red had to say. We'll also hear from Xavier Worthy, the third-year wide receiver, and the veteran linebacker Drue Tranquill, both of whom spoke after practice in St. Joe today. We'll hear from them coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. And we'll hear from our Chiefs insider who's been at St. Joe every day for training camp, Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. He'll join us at the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour. Man, we got real football substance to talk about with Matt. It has been too long. Man, Week 17 was so long ago. Week 18, excuse me. And we really want to talk about Week 18, right? That was the worst football game I've ever seen in my life. That Raiders-Chiefs Week 18 game. It's been so long. It's been so long since we have had real football-like substance to talk about with Matt Derrick. So looking forward to that. He'll give us his impressions of the first few days of team workouts in St. Joe. That's coming up at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour here today on 580 Sports Talk. Also coming up today on the program, bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. Tomorrow is the first day of August. It is a Friday, July 31st. 5 Fridays from now is September 4th. And that is the start of the high school football season in the state of Kansas. Kind of. We'll get to that. Some teams start on Thursday. Maybe that's a spoiler. But the high school football season gets underway that first Friday night of September. And we have decided that today, no day like today, to reveal our broadcast schedule, our 580 Preps Game of the Week schedule of games that we will be bringing you on these airwaves, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, and in the month of September, I guess I should say, or in the month of September, in the event of a Royals conflict, games will, of course, as has been the tradition, been on our sister station, Country 106.9, in those events. So most of September's games will be over on Country 106.9. But it is our high school football broadcast schedule, our Game of the Week schedule. We're going to unveil it at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour today. Spencer and I are in the mood for some high school football. We've been wiring our brains to get psyched. We've got the Pigskin Preview magazine just about ready to send to print. Our combination of the long-standing Pigskin and Hoops magazine that we did here at 580 WIBW for nearly 40 years, combining now with the Pigskin Preview publication that our new ownership at MSC Sports has put out across not just Northeast Kansas, but parts of Nebraska and Missouri with football previews for the coming season. We are combining the two for a big, fat Pigskin Preview magazine. We're looking at about 120 pages of football previews. So if you're familiar with the Pigskin Preview and your school's been in that, you're going to be in that. If you're familiar with Pigskin and Hoops and your school has been in that, you're going to be in this. And so we've been writing previews for the last couple of weeks, and we have finalized the high school football schedule. We're excited to unveil it. We're going to do that at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour today. Lots of other fun stuff for Friday here on the program. We will do on Second Thought and Change My Mind. We've got our July championship on What Is Wrong With You. The Whizzinator versus Mountain Doo-Doo. You guys need to grow up, clearly, steering us towards these sophomoric stories and titles. Whizzinator's not really a title. It's just what the story is about. That's our championship for the month of July. It's a fifth grader's dream. Fifth graders think this stuff is funny. You know what? I have at times been accused of having the sense of humor of a fifth grader. I'm not above this. I'm not pretending I'm above it. I'm just remarking on the general population of 580 Sports Talk that, oh, y'all like this. Y'all think this is funny. I am y'all, for the record. So that's the July championship on What Is Wrong With You. We'll also have our 580 Sports Talk headlines, of course, as well. You are, as always, invited and encouraged to be a part of 580 Sports Talk. You can hop in on the text line today. It's wide open. 785-272-9429 is the number. That is 785-272-9429. Send us a text. Let us know what you're thinking about. Ask your questions. Register your concerns. You can also interact in the live chat on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the YouTube channel. Go and give it a click and subscribe while you're over there. Doesn't cost you anything but the click or the tap of your screen. And if you're watching the program live from 3 to 6 Central on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, avail yourself of the live chat. You can do that on your browser. You can do that on your mobile device. The live chat is open. Great way to build the 580 Sports Talk community that we have started and grown in that YouTube chat. I see some regulars in already today. Vance, Mark, see Paul in the chat today. Paul referring to Royals and Rockies as the apathy series this weekend. It really is. Like that. This is the time of year you hit the deadline and teams know what they are, and in the Royals and Rockies case, what they aren't. And unlike the Royals, the Rockies were never under any illusions. The Royals at least went into this year with some illusions, and those were quickly deflated when the Royals realized, oh my God, we don't have a bullpen. And so, yeah, you get to this time of year where you look down the matchups, and especially you get it in the interleague era where you go, oh man, why are they playing these? So, but again, nobody more qualified than me to break that series down soup to nuts. It's unfortunate it doesn't mean anything. It'd be really cool if it did. It doesn't. I think we'd all enjoy it if it did. It doesn't. That's for later on in the show today. But again, welcome those of you who are watching on YouTube, and hop in the chat today. 580 Sports Talk. If you do, give us a click over there. Hop in the chat and say hello. Let's talk Chiefs camp, where Cyrus Allen continues to be a lead story. I don't want to say the lead story, because the lead everything for the Chiefs right now, all the way up until we see what it looks like week one, and increasingly it looks like we're going to see it week one. How's Patrick Mahomes' knee? By all accounts, he has looked so much like you expect Patrick Mahomes to look that it's almost going unremarked upon by the media. I was reading, I think it was Pete Sweeney in the Kansas City Star. It was definitely the Star. I think it was Sweeney. And it was something like a camp recap. Hey, this is what's been going on. And Patrick Mahomes looking good on his knee was like a throwaway paragraph towards the end of the article. And that's not me saying, oh, whoever wrote that's not doing their job. Or no, that's just how unremarkable it is right now that Mahomes looks close to health. Close to ramming speed, close to what you would want him to look like going through the motions if he weren't coming off of a torn ACL in December, guys. December. Talking 7.5 months. 7.5 months ago, he had knee surgery, major knee surgery. And it looks so natural for Mahomes. And he is able to roll out and throw on the move that it only bears mention at the end of an article. Now, because believe me, if it were the other way, it would be all we could talk about. If the story were, yeah, Mahomes is having to sit out 11 on 11s and he's not really, it's a lot of straight drop, it's a lot of shotgun, and you can tell they're not really testing the knee yet. Like, that would be the story. We'd be talking about that before we'd talk about anybody else fighting for a roster spot. But it's not. That's not the story. Instead, the story is, yeah, Mahomes looks like Mahomes. All right, what's next? Who else can we talk about? Yeah, that's the MVP out there. That's the 3-time Super Bowl MVP. That just as you remember him. And that's incredible, right? Like, that's unbelievable. But it gets to the point, like, ESPN.com had a video today. Dan Graziano, one of their NFL insiders, he might have been at Chiefs camp, but Graziano had a video talking about how, oh yeah, Chiefs expect Mahomes to be ready. Why the Chiefs are expecting Mahomes to be ready week one. And I didn't even click on it because it feels obvious at this point. That's a damn miracle, but it feels real obvious. It feels like, yeah, of course he's going to play week one. Why wouldn't he? So that's obviously like the biggest story of camp, and I don't mean to suggest anything else. Like, there's not even really a close second, but the more we get through camp And the less remarkable it is to see Mahomes rolling out either side, throwing on the run either side, then the less that's going to be a story. And we can focus on the other stuff, like Cyrus Allen being the next Jerry Rice, apparently. This is from Pete Sweeney. This is from his X account. I saw this earlier today. He posted, and again, he's beat writer, Kansas City Star. He posted, early in camp here with Rashee Rice not working team, which, internet shorthand for he's going through his own workouts right now. He's not practicing in the team period. So with Rashee Rice not working team, Cyrus Allen has undoubtedly been Patrick Mahomes' favorite target. It feels like he's looking Allen's way every time he's out there. Pretty good thing to be able to build that level of trust with QB1 when you're a fifth-round draft pick just trying to make the back end of the roster. And it's not just Allen making routine catches. He made one contested catch against Noel Williams down the field on a go-get-it ball, a sideline ball, and he made one leaping one-handed catch in traffic that chances are, if you are any kind of online as a Chiefs fan, you saw the video of today. It was an outstanding catch. And look, he's got to do it in a scenario where that safety who's a few feet away from him is allowed to hit him, right? He's got to do this in a scenario where the pads are on and there's 70,000 in the stands. It's one thing to do it in a friendly environment. It's one thing to do it 7-on-7s or shorts and shells workouts. You got to do it when the lights come on and the pads pop. But the path to getting the opportunity to show that is to do the stuff that Cyrus Allen is doing. And not just in the sense of making highlight catches, but making himself available to Patrick Mahomes, getting open. If Mahomes is looking for him, that means he thinks Allen's going to be open. And Dane Brugler, who is the Athletics draft guy, he puts out the Beast, the draft profile every year. He liked Cyrus Allen coming out of college. Of all the players who did not get invited to the NFL's Combine, he said Allen was the second best athlete of anybody who didn't get a Combine invite. So he's been really high on the athleticism, and the route running was supposed to be Allen's strength coming out of Cincinnati. And so far, he's putting that on tape for the Chiefs, and he's earning Patrick Mahomes' trust. And right now, he's the pretty clear front runner to be the number 4 wide receiver, that wascally Cyrus Allen. So that is a major story of camp right now. And what is his ceiling when the pads come on? When the lights are bright? When you can take contact? You got to be careful, of course, because this is camp. Camp hype, to this point, has never caught a regular season pass, never scored a regular season touchdown. Camp hype doesn't do that for you. But maybe a little bit more ceiling than the average day 3 wide receiver pick. And maybe a little bit more ceiling than the average Chiefs day 3 wide receiver pick. So that's been nice to see. Here's the other notable thing from the offense today. Khalil Benson was in there at right tackle with the ones again. That's 2 straight days. And to anyone's knowledge, Jalen Moore's not working through anything. He's not off to the side. Not dealing with an injury. He's not on a pup. He's available. But the Chiefs are choosing their first 5 to start every day with the ones. And it's Josh Simmons and Kingsley Suamataia and Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith and the undrafted free agent rookie out of Indiana. And it's not just he's getting some reps with the first team. Today, he got them all. Every first team rep in 11-on-11s at right tackle belonged to Khalil Benson. 2 ways to look at that, right? First thing is, wow, the kid must be really impressive for the Chiefs to want to see how he looks alongside their other 4 starters. And the glass half empty says, Boy, that's alarming. If the Chiefs right now, on July 31st, feel like their best option at right tackle might be an undrafted free agent. Even an undrafted free agent from a program like Indiana, which, if you watched any college football last year, they were pretty good, right? Pretty good offensive line, took care of some business, right? But for him to be out there for all of the number one reps, it's very clear. They are sending a message. They are sending a message that the job is indeed, and we wondered about this all offseason. We wondered about it coming out of mandatory minicamp when Andy Reid seemed to indicate that the job was up for grabs. Sure feels like it. Kind of feels like Benson's got a leg up. Other players who got in some with the ones in 11 on 11s today. Obviously, we talked a bunch about Cyrus Allen. Andrew Armstrong's another one. He was a practice squad guy last year, 6'4" kid, had a really good summer, really impressed in minicamp. He got some reps with the ones. Amari DeMercado and Brashard Smith were rotating out there at running back. Jared Wiley was out there as the third tight end. Over on the defensive side of the ball, Chris Roland Wallace continues to get a long look in the slot. He certainly has a chance to win that nickel job. Kader Kohu has a chance. He spoke to the media today. And, Chiefs typically don't put a guy up in front of the press at this stage of camp if they feel like they're not a pretty solid bet to make the roster. Cooper McDonald and Jeffrey Bassa were out there running at linebacker. And Felix Anudike-Uzomah got some run with the ones. And I know we've all written Felix off, right? We have. Even those who were excited to hear his name called as the first-round pick on that draft night in Kansas City in 2023. Even those who rooted for Felix at Kansas State, believed in his upside, as Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year. A lot of us have written Felix off. Hand up, I'm one of them. And for being honest, kind of feels like the Chiefs have been close. He's on the roster, but he's one of those rare fifth-round picks that didn't get his fifth-year option picked up. And he comes into this season having not played last year and needing to prove something to make the roster this year. Well, Ashton Gelati got hurt today, tweaked a hamstring. He's going to get an MRI. They're not certain about how serious it is, if it's going to cost him time. More will be revealed about that, I'm sure, tomorrow. But there's no veteran reinforcement, at least right now, on the table to come and take a roster spot at edge. Felix Anudike-Uzomah very, very obviously has a path to the 53-man roster in a way that we kind of assumed wouldn't be available for him when we talked about him in the spring and the summer. And it bears mentioning again that Felix is just 24 years old. 24 years old. There were guys drafted this year who are older than Felix, and he's entering year 4 in the NFL. So he's in a different scenario than a guy who maybe was drafted at age 23 and now they're in their age 27 season, and you're supposed to be refined. You're supposed to be as good as it gets athletically there as you kind of get to your mid-late 20s. Felix barely into his mid-20s. There's a little bit more upside for him, you would hope, just in terms of his age. But the door is open. The door is wide open. If Gelati's going to miss some time, Ethan Downs is already out for the season, the door could not be more wide open for Felix. And I think even if, like me, written him off, you got to admit, it'd be pretty cool to see him run with the opportunity. And also, kind of necessary, because the Chiefs look awful thin at that position. They're in a spot where they don't need Felix to come good as a starter, which is good. Like, leaning on him to step into a starting role this year would have been nuts. But they right now are in a spot where he has to contribute. So what are you going to do with it? Everybody's written you off. Are you going to be like Geno Smith and not write back? What's it going to look like? Andy Reid talked a little bit about Felix and his remarks today. We'll play Andy Reid's daily or his press conference today. He doesn't talk every day, but he talked today. We'll play his remarks in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll also hear then from Xavier Worthy and Drue Tranquill. Matt Derrick, our Chiefs Insiders, coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Your thoughts, 785-272-9429. You can also join us in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. We are revealing our 580 Preps high school football broadcast schedule for the coming fall at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour today. We'll get to some baseball in the 5 o'clock hour. We got headlines. We got a championship for the month of July on What Is Wrong With You. It's all coming up on 580 Sports Talk. Just underway, 3:32 here on 580 Sports Talk. Our Chiefs insider Matt Derrick is going to join us here in just a little bit. We'll see who is beating him to the practice field every day. You know, Matt always takes pride in being the first media member to the practice field, tries to beat everybody from the roster. Usually it's Harrison Butker who beats him down there. We'll see who else, if anybody else, is beating Matt Derrick to the surface out at Spratt Stadium in St. Joe. We'll get his early impressions from Chiefs training camp here in just a little bit. Mark H. in the YouTube live chat said, I did write off Felix Anudike-Uzomah. I hope he does well enough, but feels like a long shot for sure. So, again, the thing's working in his favor. He's still young. He's not got a lot of tread on the tires, so to speak. He did not play last year. He was coming off of that injury. They IR'd him pretty quick. And he wasn't a first-round pick by accident. He wasn't a charity case, right? Like, we all remember, we saw it in college. We saw what it looked like in college. But, you know, there are hundreds of guys play great, earned honors in college, and never ended up with much of an NFL career. He's got some things working in his favor, and again, the opportunity could not be more obvious for him. Right now, the edge room with Gelati down with the hamstring, we'll see. It felt unlikely the way they were talking about it that he'd practice tomorrow, that it wasn't maybe more than a tweak, and they're hoping nothing real serious, but also maybe not afraid that it's real serious, if that makes sense. But with him, if he's not in there, your defensive ends for the Chiefs with experience are George Karlaftis and Felix. After that, you get the rookie Mason Thomas, and then a big old shrug of the shoulders You kick Peter Woods out there. He played some end. I think he's better on the interior, but I think he's big enough to play the interior more so than that edge position. But door is wide open for Felix. And we'll see what he does with it. Like, I would love to see him come good, right? Be great story. Local kid, K-Stater, written off as a bust. No fifth-year option, fourth-year breakout. That'd be one of those good problems for the Chiefs to have. Oh, we might not be able to afford to bring him back next year if he has a big year, but if he has a big year, he probably helps the Chiefs win a lot of games. It's not something probably where you'd put the smart money, but at the same time, if not him, who? Right? Like, I'm trying to pull up the list of the defensive ends on this roster outside of your starters are probably Karlaftis and Gelati, and then Armason Thomas and Felix. After that, you've got Tyreek Smith has played a little in the league out of Ohio State. He was active for a couple of games last year. He's played 3 career games. But that's it. Anthony Dunn's a rookie. VJ Anthony's a rookie. Those are your edge rushers. That's it. That's who you got. So, and Felix, the door could not be possibly any more wide open for him to contribute. Before we take this time out and bring on Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider, I want to tell you about my friends here at Calhoun's Jewelers in Topeka. They are the place to go for all of your jewelry needs. And look, it doesn't have to be you're getting married. It doesn't have to be you're celebrating something. Sometimes you just want to celebrate your special someone. Sometimes you just want to buy him or her something so that they know how much you love and appreciate them. For whatever the occasion may be, Calhoun's Jewelers has the right fit for you. And if they can't find exactly what you're looking for on their showroom, they can help you design exactly what it is that will be perfect, that will make your special somebody's heart sing. Friendly service, great selection, right here in the heart of the hometown, Topeka, Kansas, 18th and Gage. Calhoun's Jewelers. Go see them. We'll take a break. Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider, is next. We go to St. Joe / Kansas City. Our Chiefs insider is Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. He joins us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline every Monday at this time. Matt, who's the fastest to the field today?
Well, I'm in a slump right now, Dan. So it's not been me. And sadly, I think Jesse Newell from The Athletic is trying to steal my gig because he's been the guy that's been there every day. But player-wise, I tell you what, they're breaking it up. So they're making it easy for me to catch up. I mean, if I just stacked a couple of good days together next week, I'll be fine. But yeah, I haven't had my best start to camp, Dan. I'm not going to lie.
That's what it's all about, right? Stacking days at this stage of camp. That's what the coaches and players always say.
That's all we're trying to do is just stack good days.
Amen to that. Matt Derrick is our Chiefs insider here on 580 Sports Talk. I want to start with this. It sort of feels like Patrick Mahomes' knee is becoming less of a story as the days go by because he's doing everything you expect Patrick Mahomes to do and looks like you'd expect Patrick Mahomes to look while doing it. Is that a fair assessment, or are you still seeing some things that maybe he's holding back on or that they are holding him back from doing as they try to manage him and that left knee early on in this training camp?
Yeah, I'm with what you said there. I think it's spot on. I don't think it is as much of a deal as it was Monday at the start of the week. I feel like it's just, slowly but surely people are kind of forgetting about it. And I think it's kind of because Mahomes is kind of forgetting about it too. I know there was some quibbles early in camp that maybe he was fiddling with the brace a little bit and maybe he looked uncomfortable, and maybe he did. And I'm sure he was fiddling with the brace. It's just, those things can get loose and all that, so I think that's something to be constant with. But after a while, you kind of deal with it. And honestly, since the camp started, Dan, I feel like he's gone all gas, no brakes. I mean, which is just Mahomes as usual. It's how he plays. So I don't see it holding him back. It doesn't appear that the coaches have been holding him back anyways. And if you even look, just watching him, like even celebrating plays. I mean, today, he throws a screen pass to Kenneth Walker that probably would have gone for like 70 yards. I mean, it was a great executed play. And as soon as he saw it bust open after about 10 yards, I mean, he just starts jumping up and down and throwing his arms in the air. I mean, he's been doing that kind of stuff. He's been, celebrating just like Mahomes does and doing his little running around. Maybe not all the stuff. I mean, I keep thinking about the goofy stuff he would do with Travis and everything, like sneaking up behind him and, hitting him in the back of the head or something like that. I mean, I think that's a checkpoint still to clear. But on the field, it looks like there are no restrictions on him at all.
A lot more under center early on in camp, and I know that was something that the Chiefs talked about, and I think we talked about throughout the spring and the summer as a way to spruce up what had been a moribund rushing attack, certainly the previous season. And that would be the kind of thing where if you have a quarterback, you're worried about their knee. Maybe you don't have them doing a ton of stuff under center early on, but Chiefs don't seem to have held back from there. Does that look fairly natural for Mahomes in the operation when they have done some of that under center stuff?
Yeah, I think it does. And honestly, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think I have only seen maybe a couple of bad snaps, and neither one of them was with Mahomes on the field. They were generally with backups. I think today it was, with the third string center and the third string quarterback. So things right now look pretty natural. I mean, they're doing more of it. I don't get the sense that it's like the majority of the work. They're still a shotgun a lot, and granted, I mean, a lot of practices in 7-on-7, and that's all shotgun. And really, the thing that I think you would be probably concerned about the most, because hey, he goes under center, they practice it all the time. But I think that the one disadvantage that you have for your quarterback is that when you go under center, you're limiting the amount of time that he has to see and scan the field for receivers, and that's the difference. And I feel like at this point, Mahomes looks pretty comfortable there. Hasn't really been, putting the ball in any danger. I think he has perhaps been throwing the ball away a little bit, or has been pretty aggressive as far as trying to make throws that the ball in a place where only his guy can go get it. I mean, this time of the year, nobody's worried about interceptions, although I don't know. It feels like maybe he's a little worried about interceptions because he just doesn't want the narrative or the bad thoughts or anything of that nature. But other than that, I mean, I feel like that he's been seeing the field pretty well when they throw out of from under center, which I think is going to be the bigger challenge for them. And in the run game, no pad, so it's early to make any conclusions. But it does look like that. Hey, at least that gives you a different look. That it's going to present you with some different opportunities.
Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com is our Chiefs insider here on 580 Sports Talk, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. What date should we save for Cyrus Allen's Ring of Honor festivities? Are we thinking probably like sometime in the 2040s, maybe the late 2040s are going to put him in? What are we thinking for that?
Well, you think at least there's a 3-year waiting period.
Right.
And, you'd think at least, 10, 11 years? So Maybe give him 12 for just good nature, but yeah, I mean, at least 15 years. Yeah, it's going to be into the 2040s for sure. And I'm not even. I mean, right now you could actually probably take a guess, and there's a lot of people who wouldn't think you're kidding. I mean, dude's looked impressive. I tap the brakes because I say, hey, look, he's not the fastest guy in the world, so the idea of this guy, being like a 1,600-yard receiver one day, probably pie in the sky. But right now, I mean, to me, Cyrus Allen looks like the kind of guy who could be an absolutely terrific, number 2 receiver. And once again, it comes back to this is against type for the Chiefs. They love their receivers to just have outlandish speed and be guys that you can get the ball in space and sometimes forget about getting the ball to the guy, because if he can't catch it, he can't really do anything with the ball afterwards. Cyrus Allen just catches for almost everything. If he can get his hands on it, he seems to put it away. I mean, I think he's had maybe in the practices I've seen him with going back to like rookie mini camp, I mean, I've seen maybe 1 or 2 drops tops. He just catches, and most importantly, he runs the right routes, and he's thinking about things. The other day, when he was talking to us, and he was talking about the kind of things that when Coach Reid comes over to him to give him some advice during practice and what he's working on. I mean, he's working on pre-snap reads and making his adjustments and all these kinds of things. I mean, most rookie receivers at this point are thinking to themselves, okay, here's the position I'm on in the field. What route am I running? And Cyrus Allen is thinking about, okay, well, what's this guy lined up doing against me? What's the run protection on this play? He's like, hey, if I need to go into motion, what's going to happen over here? Or, hey, what if I'm lined up as the Z instead of the X? I mean, he knows all this stuff already.
It's impressive that he seems to have already garnered the respect of Mahomes, even after just a short time working with Mahomes at quarterback, in the sense that Mahomes is looking for him and trusting him and throwing into tight windows to him. Is that even further confirmation that this is there's a little bit more to this than maybe just a highlight here and a highlight there?
Yeah, and that's what I think gives you, solid optimism for the regular season and how Allen could get used, because you're right. I mean, you have to have the quarterback's confidence. And I'm not saying that every receiver doesn't have that. I mean, the Chiefs are going to say, hey, Matt Patrick believes in all his receivers and everything. But the reality of it is that, you got 3 or 4 receivers on the field. If you're the quarterback, you're going to know in which order are the guys that you trust the most. And guys that can't put the ball away, I mean, they're going to naturally be 5th in his progression. They're going to be the last guy that he thinks of. Allen is absolutely working his way up. I mean, if you're Mahomes right now and you've got Rice and Worthy and Allen on the field at the same time, I don't know if there's a huge difference there. I mean, you're going to go through your normal progressions, but I don't think he's going to be hesitating for 1 second to throw the ball to Cyrus Allen or think to himself, well, hey, even though Rice has got a guy on him and Allen is more open, I'm still going to throw the ball to Rice because I trust him more. I don't think that's the case. I mean, I think it's looking like this receiver group could be more like 2018, 2019, when Mahomes trusted everybody. I mean, he could throw the ball to Tyreek, to DeMarcus Robinson, to Sammy Watkins, and he didn't care. I mean, he trusted all of them to go get the ball. It's feeling a little bit like with this group, too.
Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com joining us here on 580 Sports Talk, our Chiefs insider on the program. 2 straight days with Khalil Benson running with the ones at right tackle. What impression has he made with his performance at that spot so far?
I mean, at this point, without the pads, I think you have to just go with the fact that he's impressed the coaches this much to be in this position. And then when you watch, some of I was watching this afternoon some of the clips that have been posted of his work and everything, because I think it's hard to kind of watch offensive line, defensive line play during practice from a distance. It's really hard to distinguish, who's doing a good job and who's not. And I was watching some of the clips, and it's like, okay, I see what the coaches are thinking now. I mean, and going back to his scouting report coming out of college, it was, really honestly, that was pretty good. I mean, that he's got good size. There was a little bit that maybe he projects as a guard rather than a tackle, but that he's got good footwork. I mean, he's got good strength, all these things. It was just that he had sloppy technique was the kind of buzzword about what was wrong with him. And I don't necessarily see that right now. So I don't know if something's changed. I don't know if every NFL team just misread his draft potential. I don't know if there's a serious disorder of some sort that we don't know about that was a reason why nobody wanted to touch this kid. But the fact that, no one drafted him, he wasn't a priority free agent, he was in Kansas City on a tryout, is just absolutely mind-boggling. I don't get it. I keep looking at this trying to figure out what's wrong with this guy because I don't see it yet. But
over on the other side of the ball on the defensive line, Felix Anudike-Uzomah got some reps with the ones today. I know Andy Reid spoke a little bit about Felix. It's the make-or-break year for him. Fourth season, no fifth-year option for the former first-round pick, coming off of a lost season last year. But Chiefs didn't really add a veteran at that position. Doors wide open for Felix to still contribute. What are the chances that he can, based upon this opportunity now that we really didn't think was going to be in front of him, that now very much is, especially with the injury loss of Ethan Downs and now an injury today to Ashton Gillotte?
Yeah, it certainly felt like that he might have been in a little bit of a competition with Ethan Downs because, again, similar size, similar stature, I think similar skill set as far as, being guys that you would be kind of a speed rushers on the outside, wide nine kind of players, which honestly is also, what our Mason Thomas is. But the fact that, they went to Felix today first when Gillotte went down, I think it says one thing about Felix for sure is that they do appreciate his versatility, that he can be a run-first edge defender, that maybe he's a little bit more stout against the run right now than maybe a young guy like R. Mason Thomas, which that's going to be his place that he needs to grow. I mean, right now he's kind of viewed as a pass rusher first and not necessarily an edge setter in the run game. So Felix has been around long enough that they trust him in that. So there's an opportunity there for sure for him to seize it because, like you said, I mean, there's nobody else in line now. I mean, Felix is, at this point definitely has that kind of number 4 spot in the rotation locked down if he can take it. And if Ashton Gillotte is out for an extended period of time, now he's the number 3 guy that he can really lock it down. And that's huge for him. So I think it is a great opportunity for him if he can really, show a breakout year this year because now the snaps could be coming his way.
Last question for you, Matt. If they get him to week 1 healthy, which is no guarantee given his career and recent injury concerns, do you think L'Jarius Sneed starts week 1 for the Chiefs?
It's really interesting because, the Chiefs are treating him as a starter right now. And I don't entirely get it because, obviously he hasn't been a full-time player the last 2 years. The injuries have just continued to bite him. And, and Andy Reid even talked on day one about the fact that they're going to have to limit his work on that knee and load manage him. So I think it's a possibility. I mean, I would think that it's a better chance that he's the starter as a nickel, that maybe he's the guy that comes in and kind of, kicks inside or, maybe he does, come inside, play on the outside a little bit and somebody else goes in. I have a hard time because I just don't know that his body is still capable of playing a full game at 17 games and full snaps. So I think he's going to have to be a rotational piece. Maybe he does start, and that's the way the Chiefs are kind of treating him right now. But, gosh, it doesn't necessarily add up to me. I mean, L'Jarius just seems like a part-time player right now with his body, and that probably seems what would be best. I think if they're asking any more from him for that, I think it could lead to trouble.
Matt Derrick covers the Kansas City Chiefs for ChiefsDigest.com. He'll try again tomorrow to be the first one at the field at Spratt Stadium at Chiefs Training Camp. He joins us every Friday on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline at this time. Matt, it is always a pleasure, and it's really good to be talking about actual football stuff with you again. We'll look forward to doing it next week.
And if I am first to practice tomorrow, I'm going to dedicate my win to you guys. So, thank you, Dan.
We appreciate that. Thank you, Matt. That is Matt Derrick. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back with On Second Thought to wrap up this first hour of the Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk. On second thought, when the Chiefs signed L'Jarius Sneed, I did not think that they pictured doing so would be to add a starter to their defensive backfield. They seemed very content to turn the position over to youth. Second year, Noah Williams. Number 6 overall pick, Mansour Delane. Shamari Connor on a first contract. Alohi Gilman, the exception, because the Chiefs love themselves a veteran-free safety. But it did not feel like the signing of L'Jarius Sneed this offseason was anything more than a chance to maybe do a veteran a solid. Maybe show that he could prove that he was healthy and provide a veteran voice at minicamp and training camp. And maybe in a best-case scenario, a part-time player. But you just heard Matt Derrick say it. That's not how they're treating L'Jarius Sneed. He's getting his work in with the ones right now. And look, a healthy L'Jarius Sneed, well, a healthy L'Jarius Sneed wouldn't be a Chief, right? He'd still be a Tennessee Titan. He would still be on that roster because the Titans would believe he could help them. He couldn't really help them the last 2 years. Last year, he had trouble enough getting on the field. The Chiefs are probably right to feel like they've got a little bit of a better idea of how to handle Sneed's injury because they managed it so effectively in 2023, keeping him out of practices, load managing him throughout the week, and getting incredible all-pro level football from Sneed on their way to a Super Bowl championship. I just don't know that 3 years on, he can still be that player, and that counting on him in a starting role over the likes of a Chris Roland Wallace or on the outside over the likes of Noah Williams, I think would be a real mistake. This is a Chiefs team that everywhere else is getting younger. We talked about it throughout the offseason as it became clear that the Chiefs were not going to pursue veteran options at wide receiver or veteran options at defensive end. This is a team getting younger, not older. And it seemed like the secondary, after Trent McDuffie left via trade, Jalen Watson left via free agency, and Brian Cook left via free agency, that this was again going to be a position group where the Chiefs trusted youth and trusted their own personnel and player development. And then they turn around and sign L'Jarius Sneed. And right now it kind of feels like they think he's going to start. And Matt Derrick kind of confirmed that suspicion for us just now, speaking with him. And I'm not sure that's the best tack to take for the secondary, unless he's as healthy as he's been since 2023. But we're talking about a football player here. Would you bet on that? Coming up at the 4 o'clock hour, audio from today at Chiefs Camp. We'll hear from Andy Reid, Xavier Worthy, and Drue Tranquill, plus our football, high school football schedule reveal coming up at the bottom of the hour. Broadcast schedule reveal on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on this Friday. Dan Lucero and Spencer Dupuy hanging out with you here on the Sports Voice of Kansas. 580 WIBW, FM 104.9. We're online at 580WIBW.com. We are on your mobile device on the MSC radio app, and we're on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Welcome those of you who are watching us on video today. You can hop in the live chat and say hello on that 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. You can also text the program today. 785-272-9429 is the text line number. Again, that is 785-272-9429. We have got this hour some Chiefs audio to bring you from St. Joe today. Andy Reid spoke to the media. We'll play back Big Red. We'll also hear from Xavier Worthy and Drue Tranquill, both of whom spoke to the media earlier today. Tranquill, always an interesting guy. He's a linebacker, and like many linebackers, man, a few words. Doesn't talk forever, but gets his point across. Andy Reid had plenty to say about some of the early camp sensations, some thoughts on Felix Anudike-Uzomah as well. So we'll play that audio for you here this hour, this top of the hour on 580 Sports Talk. And again, Reid will update you on injuries. He's going to tell you about Cyrus Allen, Khalil Benson, Noel Williams, L'Jarius Sneed, Mansour Delane, and a whole lot more. Xavier Worthy talking about his injury and becoming more of a leader at the wide receiver position. And Drue Tranquill talking about the defense as a whole and the linebacking group for the Chiefs, which we don't really talk about because it's a position that's not the glamour position it used to be in football. I think we can say that. But the Chiefs linebacker room, in terms of experience, really thin behind Tranquill and Nick Bolton. You got Cooper McDonald, who was a UDFA last year. You have Jack Cochran and Cole Christensen, who've been around, but, best case scenario, those are four-phase special teamers and not really guys you want. Like we saw what happened when Cochran had to wear the green dot for a night in Green Bay a couple years ago. And that obviously was not what anybody wanted to see. And you have Jeffrey Bassa, who he was great in the preseason last year. He really was. But I worry that he's a little light in the seat to play NFL linebacker, that he's more of a special team type than he is a guy you can put in there and be an NFL type of body, an NFL type of physical presence at linebacker. So Chiefs really need to develop at that position. They've got some eggs in that Cooper McDonald basket because they did not go after the loss of Leo Chanel in free agency. They did not go add a veteran linebacker. And they're sticking with Bolton and Tranquill. They could have walked away from Tranquill. They could have cut him. He had a contract that they could have cut. It wouldn't have been massive cap savings, but they could have walked away and saved about, I think it would have been like something like $8 million to the cap. But they really value what Tranquill continues to bring to the team and has brought since his first day. And we'll hear from Drue Tranquill here in just a little bit. Also coming up this hour, we've got our July championship for What Is Wrong With You. We have down to 2 stories for the month of July. Let's actually do the math on this. This July show is our 23rd of the month. So we had 21 competition days, which meant we have 42 stories.
Yeah.
42 What Is Wrong With Yous. And we're down to 2 for the month of July. And that's typical, right? That's a typical month is generally around that number of stories. We are down to 2, both scatological in nature this year, or this month. We have the Whizzinator in one corner. We have Mountain Doo-Doo, or Do Not Go In There, as our other finalist.
I think these are the 2 perfect ones to pit against each other, in my opinion.
In a sense, it is an appropriate final, yes. I still think that the listeners got it wrong. When we had the listeners break the tie yesterday, and the listeners, by a slim margin, advanced the Whizzinator past the woman who burned down the church she was supposed to get married in because she didn't have the marriage license. maybe in the end, that story suffered for lack of detail. Maybe we needed to have known from the bride-to-be that she lit the church on fire specifically because she didn't really want to get married, and not just because she didn't have the marriage license. Because maybe she just panicked. Yeah. Or maybe she just really didn't want to marry this guy and couldn't see any other way out of it other than burning down the venue. Or was just looking for, maybe she was just looking for a postponement. Because if she's just looking for a postponement, it's not as good a story. It's a funnier story to me if she was like, nah, I can't marry this joker. But maybe it was that ambiguity that kept the run-of-flame bride from advancing. But I respect, even if I think you get it wrong, I respect the will of the listeners. And so it is the Whizzinator in the championship against Mountain Doo-Doo. And, of course, at the bottom of this hour, as I promised earlier on the show today, we will reveal our 580 Preps high school football game of the week schedule for 2026. We have finalized it, and we are looking forward to sharing it with you. We will let you know where we will be. Again, 5 weeks from today is the first Friday night of the high school football season in the state of Kansas. As it happens, we're starting our season the night before that. But, again, that's a little bit of a spoiler, but more when we get there later this hour. We'll tell you which games you'll be able to hear on either these airwaves or throughout the month of September with Royals conflicts over on our sister station, Country 106.9. That has been the tradition since I've been around here, and probably predates me. Most things do. I've been around here forever. A lot of things predate me, but I'm not that old. But the September games in which there is Royals conflict on a Friday night, we move those games to Country 106.9, and then October and November, those games air typically right here on 580 WIBW, as well as select Thursday games. So that is coming your way at the bottom of this hour. Plus, we'll play around to change my mind. That's all coming up. Again, we want to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429. Again, that's 785-272-9429. Also, in the live chat on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. We'll do a little read and react with the, listen and react to the audio today from St. Joe. Let's go ahead and jump in with the head coach of the Chiefs, Andy Reid. He was speaking today after practice at Spratt Stadium. Here's what Big Red had to say.
Everything was good today at practice. We had one injury with Gelati, had a strained hamstring, so we're just checking that out. We got him out of there, and he'll start his rehab and MRI and all that stuff. Don't think it's too bad. Other than that, I like the competition that was going on today. Great effort. The guys challenging each other and on both sides of the ball, which becomes important on getting better. And we're able to up the practice to 155 today, an hour 55. They've got another one of those tomorrow, then a day off, and then they come back and they're in pads. And then we kick back just a notch, a couple minutes there, back on it, and I started with the padded practice. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Cyrus made a couple of good plays today. Super pass haven't come on yet, but just his point of catch, I just wonder if that's really stood out to you so far, just over a couple of days here.
Yeah, no, listen, he's done a nice job. The quarterback trusts him. This is Cyrus we're talking about. Quarterback trusts him in there, and he's got to clean some things up, but he's willing to work at it and do that. So he's had a productive 2 days. You got to keep stacking those as you go, and then you got to get the pads on, and we'll see from there.
Coach, Felix was the next one up after Gelati. What's the outlook for him this year?
Felix is actually doing a nice job. Looks like his get-off explosion is better, we'll see once the pads get on and going. But yeah, he's shown us some things here.
Andy, I know you pulled Cyrus off to the side during one of the team periods. Just what are you trying to instill in him when you get those moments of sort of one-on-one?
Yeah, they're little things, just subtle teaching points on routes. Chad does a great job. O'Shea does a great job with him. But if I see something I want to just communicate to him, I try to get that to him, yeah.
Andy, with Khalil Benson, with right tackle, what have you seen out of him 2 days in a row now? He's been out there.
Yeah, he and Moore have kind of rotated through that. But listen, he's done a nice job. he's learning, but very strong, powerful, good feet, good athletic ability, and is working at the consistency part scheme-wise. So physically, he's got all the tools there. So he'll just keep working at it, and we'll see where it goes. But he has a lot of talent there. Yeah.
How much growth have you seen from Noel Williams compared to last year? Has he kind of evolved in his rookie year?
Yeah, up to this point, he's done a nice job. He had a good offseason program, the OTA part of it, and then out here he's been strong where he can bend, maintain that bend, and still move with his feet. David overemphasizes all of that. Use your feet, and then be able to build cushions from there and angles, and he does a nice job of that. He's really worked hard at that.
Coach, how can you explain it with Khalil, just how he's able to go from a tryout after the draft to undrafted to where he's at right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got talent. I'm not sure. I want to see. We're early, so I want to see how he does as we go. And can you pound through those 2.5-hour practices in the heat with pads on and so on? And how do you handle that? And then you've got the preseason game. How do you handle that? And so it's a long road, but we'll see. We'll see how he does. But up to this point, my hat goes off to him. He's doing a good job.
What do you expect Legarius or Rasheed to start doing a little bit more?
Yeah, we're just building them up. Just going to keep building them up. We know it's going to take a little bit of time. They haven't much on the conditioning part of it and rehab part of it. So we know they can play. We want to be smart getting them there and how we go about that.
Besides what he does on the field, how much does Legarius bring back in leadership and mentality to the defense?
Yeah, well, everybody's got confidence. It was here with him. Everybody's got confidence in him. And he's a good guy, and he's a good leader. He's willing to speak up and talk. He knows what's expected of him. You can still see he's got the skill. He's got the feet and the quickness and the drive and all that. So just a matter of not doing something stupid here with him as we move forward. So we're being we want to give him a chance to get himself in football shape.
Andy, when the pads do come on, what do you feel like you get to learn about each one of those players?
Yeah, so there's a mental and physical fatigue that can set in, and you got to fight that. So that's what you get with the pads, and you get an idea of where the guys are at, and can they answer the bell the next play, the next day, and then stack those days as you go along.
Andy, I want to ask you just about Mansour, just your thoughts about his first couple days, but also just generally speaking with young players, the balance between them, recognizing this is a different level and
Sure.
trying to keep your confidence.
Yeah, so he's another one that is on the injury report but can work. And he's a tough kid. You remember he was a state wrestling champ, all that stuff, man. He's a tough kid. So he wants to be out there. He wants to do everything. We're not allowing him to use that arm. And so he's out there playing kind of one-handed, but till he's just completely cleared there. We're keeping an eye on him. When we get into the contact stuff, we'll back off a little bit on him there. But he's working his tail off and doing what he can do with that. And it's great for him because he's got to work his feet and his techniques and his level. How high, are you rising up as guys are making moves on you, or you're pedaling? What are you doing there? So it's actually works to his benefit in the long run.
Last one, Nate.
Yeah, same on Mansour. Just what's the plan for him? Are you guys hoping that he will have the yellow non-contact jersey on or taken off at some point between now and the preseason? Or is it just a slow part of that?
No, I think it's going to come off. It's just we'll see where it all goes here. Yeah. It's time. Just make sure that everything's healed up and good to go.
That was Andy Reid earlier today. Two things jump out there late in the press conference. Number one, we talked about it before camp started. Mansour Delane has to be out there because he has to play.
Yeah,
he has to start from day one if he's cleared, and he hasn't been all the way cleared yet. But having him out there, even if he's playing one-armed or one-handed, as Andy Reid put it, it goes to show you just how valuable the Chiefs know that his presence on the field is, and that he's getting work in even though he's in the non-contact in a way that, like, I'm not sure if he were a 6th-round pick, they'd be working him. I think they'd be a lot more cautious. Even if he was a veteran guy, they'd be a lot more cautious. But he's got to be out there learning the ropes. And an interesting point, too, about how when you can't use your hands, you focus a lot more on your technique, your feet, your body positioning, and it might even be a benefit for Delane if he's working on some things in that department in the long run. The other thing, I was just talking about this with Matt Derrick, and at the end of last hour, and on second thought, boy, it sure seems like they want L'Jarius Sneed to start. I think they view him as a starting caliber player if they can get him to opening day. And
they just got to get him help.
Such a big freaking if, though. I mean, how many games did he miss the last 2 years? I don't know that number off the top of my head. I'm going to have to go look that up. But he missed a lot of football and didn't look like himself. He played 12 of a possible 34 games the last 2 years. 12! That's 5 games in 2024, 7 last year. He didn't intercept a pass. He didn't have a sack. He had 3 pass breakups, all of them in 2025. Like, never mind, is his body going to allow him to be on the field? Does his body allow him to be a starting caliber player? Because I don't think it does. And it's a bummer because, gosh, the last time we saw him, he played at an all-pro level in 2023. He should have been an all-pro that year. But, man, that's what football does to you. And that's what knee injuries do to defensive backs. But they love him. Spags called him his son yesterday. Like a son.
One takeaway I got from this is that first rookie section maybe really helped FAU.
Yeah, good to get his kind of let him hit the ground running in the team portion of camp. And like we said with Matt, all the more important now with Gelati hurt, with Ethan Downs out for the year. It would almost be a surprise now if Felix doesn't make the roster.
Yeah.
So if he's going to make it, he better be able to help. Xavier Worthy spoke to the media earlier today. Let's hear from the X-Man, Xavier Worthy.
Patrick looked so far to you based on how he's looked in past years?
Yeah, well, I've only been with Pat 2 years, so I can't tell you for everything, but he looks pretty good. Obviously, Pat's one of the hardest workers on the team. He's worked so hard to get back from that knee, and obviously he's a leader on the team, and he wants to show guys that he's all in, so we're all in with him.
You guys had that deep ball connection yesterday. Is that something that you worked on in the offseason?
Yeah, whenever we got the opportunity, he was limited in OTA, so we tried our hardest to work at it, and we're going to continue working on it throughout this camp.
What's the question the most about what Cyrus has been able to do in 2 days of camp?
Oh yeah, Cyrus. This isn't even surprising. I told y'all guys in the offseason that Cyrus was doing this, and he's gonna continue showing out in camp.
What was your excitement to be able to ditch the yellow jersey and be out here and just floating up?
Oh yeah, I mean, the yellow jersey that was just something precautionary. Coming into camp, obviously, I knew I was gonna get into more contact, building the shoulder up, and I feel fine. I feel good.
How do you feel compared to even after you started playing last year? Were you ever fully 100%? How much better do you feel now compared to last year?
Last year, I was never 100%. I was never going to be 100% until I got the surgery. So I got the surgery, been working on it, building muscle mass, obviously working at it in the offseason, getting stronger, and obviously building that shoulder back.
Xavier, outside of trying to get yourself physically ready for camp and everything, what did you try to do when you look at film of yourself, that what you do from a route running standpoint and everything like that?
I mean, last year was kind of hard to look at because my routes kind of got changed, and I couldn't run a lot of things that I would normally run and couldn't run it in a way that I would want to. So I was kind of just looking at it as in, what would I do in this situation when I was watching the film? And there was a lot of things that I could have done and could have done better, and obviously I worked at it in the offseason.
I know we're still pretty early in the camp, Xavier, but when you actually look at the installs and the plays that you guys are putting together, how different or unique is it compared to what you saw from the offense in the first 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, the offense is pretty much the same. We're just fine-tuning and obviously dabbling in on the fundamentals and obviously our plays that made us what we were. And we kind of cut a lot of things out. Obviously, Coach Reed probably talked about it, and we're just attacking the fundamental plays and making those plays on the field.
Xavier, do you kind of see yourself taking a bigger leadership role this year?
Yeah, definitely that's something I want to do. I don't want to be a guy that's obviously all loud. I'm a kind of lead by example. If guys need help, need obviously wisdom in certain routes, I kind of been here. I know a little bit now. Obviously, I'm a third year, but just still young. But get it, guys. Obviously lined up, telling them, "Oh, you can run this on this play." just being that leader, obviously letting the guys know that they can run certain routes certain ways.
How nice is it going to be to get number 4 back out there with you, being able to play?
Yeah, it's obviously huge to get Rasheed back. He's a dynamic player. Can't wait to have him back fully in the offense.
Okay, last one. How has your relationship with Andy Reid changed in camp, in your 3rd year now?
Yeah, obviously Coach Reid has a little more trust in me. Obviously coming back, building that leadership role is something that we talked about. Obviously being more vocal, something I need to work on, obviously. And then obviously coming out and just showing by example. That's something I want to work on too as well.
Xavier Worthy earlier today in St. Joe. I'm going to overreact to one thing in that. The terseness of his answer about Rashee Rice. I'm going to read too much into that. He just said, yeah, dynamic player. Be good to have him back. That was it. Nothing about, yeah, it's my dog. I'm excited to see him back out there. I know he's been chomping at the bit, so on and so forth.
Well, I would say he's probably gotten some guidance to maybe not become his best friend.
Right?
Like, whether that be in the building or his agent or his family.
If he offers you a ride, do not take it.
Yes. Because I think if somebody in my life, whether that be me as an agent, if I was the agent of his, or if I was somebody, player personnel at the Chiefs, I think I would say that. So just be careful with what you do around Rashee Rice.
If Rashee Rice offers you a ride, simply walk instead. Campus isn't that big. You just walk. You just get around that way. One last player to hear from today, Drue Tranquill, the veteran linebacker for the Chiefs, also spoke in St. Joe.
Drue, what's just your initial thoughts on this defense now it's coming together in the first couple of days of camp?
Yeah, guys are competing. We got a lot of young guys. Obviously lost some guys in free agency, but the young guys are competing. The guys who have been here, just continue to set the standard, and it's been a good first 3 days of work.
With the linebackers specifically, a lot of youth and inexperience behind you and Nick. What have you seen from those guys to suggest they're ready to step up?
Well, there's a lot of competition in the room. Obviously, that Sam linebacker spot with Leo leaving, guys are competing for reps there. And guys just continue to compete across the board. Spags does a good job of a lot of personnel groups. We all know that. And so, guys are out here in training camp to prove it and earn some reps.
What's it like going up against Walker out there at camp?
He's special, man. He's quick in and out of the breaks. He's going to help us in the passing game. He's dynamic in the screen game, and he's got great acceleration when the ball's in his hands. So to have a guy out there to train you and help you sharpen your blade as you get ready for the season is great.
There's a moment where you dump Walker. Somehow ladder in the podium. What brings your fire, you think, for training camp? It seems like you are one of the more fired up players that's happening.
Oh, yeah, small moment. We're just competing at the end of the down, trying to get the ball out, punched, and then Kenneth's fired up, throws the ball, and it's all love. We're smiling at each other after the play, but, we're just making each other better rep by rep and, trying to make an emphasis this year to get the ball out. We need to get it out more on defense.
Do you feel like that intensity is contagious? Is that something that's behind some of that fire?
For sure. There's a play yesterday in practice where they hit us on another screen, and George comes from the backside and literally, hunts Kenneth down 25 yards down the field. You see that on tape, in the afternoon. You're like, dang, man, I got to give more, when it's hot and it's humid. It's easy when you're in the air conditioning on the clicker to say I got to go harder, but when you're, 16, 25, 30 reps into practice, where's that fire at? And seeing other guys do it certainly helps you bring it.
Drue, fixing that screen that's been emphasized more of the offense, just how frustrating has that been for the defense, but how nice is it to see that they're getting it together and have to stop it too?
Well, it's difficult, and when you're a pressure team, teams do that to you. So offenses, they know you like to bring overloads, they know you like to blitz in critical situations. The way you beat that is with screens, and so I think we had our first blitz period today, and so they had a couple screens in there for us. So they're smart on that side of the ball too.
It seems like this question could fit any of the last few years you've been here, but do you take it upon yourself to sort of set just kind of an energy tone here? I see you and Patrick sometimes talking to each other too.
I think it just makes camp more fun. Like there's no hiding that these are the hardest days of the season, and they should be. You're building the foundation, and this is where all your mental confidence and everything that you can fall back on when things get hard in the season is built. And so when you can lighten the mood and laugh a little bit and, jaw back and forth a little bit, it makes it easier, makes it more fun, and brings the energy to, otherwise long, hard days.
Couple more.
How's Travis?
What's that?
How's Travis?
Looks young, man. Looks spruce. Looks like a guy who just got married. He's looking good. He's him and Patrick seem to have that connection they've always had, connecting on some critical third downs throughout practice over the past few days. And he's in there blocking. I mean, he's in line and blocking, so they're still asking him to do everything.
Last one, Nick.
Yeah, Drew, whenever the pads do come on, how different is it out there?
I mean, that's when real football starts. We can put the jerseys on and run around all here, but it's not a 7-on-7 league. And that's when the real football starts. So it's nice to get out here, get your legs underneath you, get moving, do some football-related movements. But next week's going to get real. It's going to get real. Thanks, guys.
That was Drue Tranquill speaking earlier this week. Been through a lot of training camps. So when he says it's about to get real, that's a voice you can trust on the matter. We're going to take a timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. Our 580 Preps Game of the Week high school football broadcast schedule reveal is coming up in just a little bit. But first, we have got a What Is Wrong With You champion for the month of July to crown. We're going to do that when we come back here on 580 WIBW. It is What Is Wrong With You time on 580 Sports Talk. It is time to crown a champion for the month of July. We've already got 6 monthly champs lined up.
Second half of the year.
For the Tournament of Fail Champions. We've got Gone Postal on a Porch Pirate. That ain't chalkboard dust. The Urinator and the Insinkerator. Galloping Under the Influence. Wade Mode. And It's Okay, I'm a Street Lawyer. Those are our 6 current champions, and if the titles don't do enough to paint a vivid enough picture and you maybe missed those earlier in the year, don't worry. We'll bring them all back in the month of December. But right now, we got to advance our 7th monthly winner of the year to December's Tournament of Fail Champions. In the red corner, we have 52-year-old James Shepard of Flagler County, Florida, who needed to take a drug test. One problem, he was going to fail the drug test. That's what the Whizzinator is for. The Whizzinator is, it's a fake penis. We're adults. We can say that word on the radio and not giggle, right? Penis.
Yeah.
See, there it is again. We can say it and not giggle because we're adults. We're grown men here. Anyway, that's what James Shepard had. He had the Whizzinator, he had some dried urine, and he was on his way to his court-ordered drug test. He was driving himself to his court-ordered drug test, and he really shouldn't have done that because his license was suspended. And so, when he was handcuffed and thrown into the back of a police car, he had that thing on him, like literally on his person. The Whizzinator was locked and loaded and full and ready to be used in the drug test. And he felt like the thing for him to do in the back seat of the police car was just throw it on the floor. And when the deputy saw it, Shepard's excuse was, "That's not mine." The body cam video, however, contradicted his claim. And so not only is he facing charges of driving without a valid license and violating his probation, he's also facing charges of defrauding a drug test and tampering with evidence. In the blue corner, Mountain Doo-Doo. It was an event tied to the FIFA World Cup in Kansas City the night of July 14th. Crews with Patriot portable restrooms were collecting their units, and one of the company's drivers came upon a unit that was locked. The occupant was told they had 10 minutes to finish before they came back and removed him. When the driver came back, The man still refused to leave. A police officer was flagged down to help. The officer asked the man to come out. The man replied, I can't reach the door. That was concerning. So they said, what is it, Narnia back there? Like, what's going on? And when they opened the restroom, they busted the lock. They looked inside the restroom, and all of a sudden a head popped out of the toilet. A gentleman had climbed into the waste-holding tank beneath the toilet seat. During the rescue, the man told responders he had climbed into the tank to retrieve a Mountain Dew bottle he had dropped there and had been in the tank for roughly 8 hours. We have additional detail on this from a texter from earlier this week, a texter from the 785, who says they have a nephew who is a Kansas City police officer, said the guy in the outhouse was high and that the video and everything was pretty funny. And
yeah,
sometimes a detail just is like the perfect cherry on the sundae for a story. You imagine how scared that guy had to be. You're high and you're stuck in a porta potty. Probably 8 hours, long enough to come down, unless he's really on some stuff or really on a lot of stuff. But that initial, I'm high, I'm on a mind-altering substance, and now I'm inside a porta potty. All I wanted was my Mountain Dew. All I wanted. Pal, not worth it.
Nope.
Hard to pick a winner here, to be completely honest with you. These are two really good stories. What's your lean, Spencer?
My lean here is, I don't know, because the guy's going for a drug test. I was going to say Ty goes to sobriety, but this guy's not been sober.
Right.
And then they found out the detail of the Mountain Dew guy being high, so got to throw that out the window. I just think the imagery of Mountain Dew is funnier.
Yeah, on the one hand, you have a fake penis on the floor of a cop car, which is amusing.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you've got a guy stuck in a porta potty for 8 hours. And all he had to do to not do that was simply chalk up the Mountain Dew as a loss.
Yeah.
Right? You know what? Man, that crisp, refreshing citrus taste, I'm going to have to just buy another one, I guess. A bottle of, because okay, let's say you go according to plan there and you fish it out. Then what? You're gonna put that to your lips? You're gonna do that? That bottle that had been in the tank of a porta potty, you're gonna put that bottle up to your mouth and drink from it? They had to cut the portable toilet apart around him and then rinse him off with a fire hose. Okay.
I think that.
All right.
That takes the cake.
There's too many good details with this story. Much as I like the Whizzinator, in respect, this was a great month. I don't think we could have made, even though I gave the listeners a hard time, I don't think we could really make a wrong choice today. That man spent 8 hours in a porta potty over a Mountain Dew, and the fire department had to spray him down. I mean, did they bring soap? Do you think they got soap on one of those fire trucks? Because what's the internet meme? I know it smelled crazy in there.
Yeah.
And wherever he went for probably the next couple of days, he had some stink lines trailing him like Pigpen in Peanuts. Mountain Doo-Doo, it's our winner. It's our monthly champion for July on 580 Sports Talk. And, sir, we will smell you in December. When we come back, it's the 2026 580 Preps High School Football Game of the Week schedule reveal. If you're getting excited for high school football like we are, you won't want to miss this. It's coming up on 580 Sports Talk. 5 Fridays from today, the Friday night lights will once again light up across the state of Kansas. High school football will be here before you know it. And in that spirit, here today on 580 Sports Talk, we are preparing to unveil our 2026 580 Preps Game of the Week broadcast schedule for 580 WIBW and our sister station, when necessary, Country 1069. We do this, Spencer, because you and I have got high school football in the brain. We've been writing previews for the upcoming 2026 MSC Sports Pigskin Preview Magazine. Bigger and better than ever. You may be familiar with it if you have followed schools in the Big East or the NEKL or the TVL over the years. Well, that magazine is growing. By a lot. To include Topeka schools, all 8 of the Topeka Acacia member schools, and also a few other schools from the area. Rock Creek, Wabaunsee, Mission Valley, Burlingame, Burlington, Santa Fe Trail, Osage City,
Linden.
And Linden. Those are the 8 schools, along with the 8 Topeka schools, that will feature in this year's MSC Sports Pigskin Preview. Will be coming your way in August. We will have it at distribution sites across the area before the start of the new season. We can't wait for you to read it. As I mentioned, Spencer and I have been hard at work, not just the high schools, also some college previews, including a Washburn preview that I just finished writing earlier today. Lots of preseason honors and watch lists and things like that. It's going to be the finest high school football preview magazine you can get out here in Northeast Kansas. Certainly the most comprehensive, and we can't wait for you to read it. So we're really, really excited about pairing what has been a long-time tradition here at 580, our Pigskin and Hoops preview, which for many years was a print publication, was an online-only publication the last couple of years. We're back in print, baby. We're back in print. And we're pairing up with our new ownership at MSC to produce the best high school football preview publication anywhere, the Pigskin Preview.
Can I add something?
Please.
Not only are you going to get the Pigskin Preview, but if you download the MSC Radio app, you can also hear the best crews across Northeast Kansas and North whatever area we're in calling games.
Yeah, nobody's doing it better than the folks at MSC, and I can say that unequivocally because that includes us. We're folks at MSC. So whatever game is on any of the 10 MSC radio group stations on a Friday night, you'll be able to find it. You can scroll around and find the games, and we'll have. Of course, if you follow us on social media, you'll be able to see what games we've got in the area in greater Northeast Kansas. We cover a lot of ground. The MSC folks have covered a ton of ground out in Northeast Kansas for a lot of years, and the addition of what we have done over the years to that is only going to grow the footprint of our high school football coverage. With that in mind, and with the typical Topeka and Shawnee County focus that we have always started our season with, on the 580 Preps Game of the Week, let's go ahead and unveil the 2026 high school football broadcast schedule. There is a graphic up on the screen on the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. If you would like to look at it, it's there. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. You can check it out. And for those of you who aren't looking at it right now, I will run it from the top. Week 1, a double dip, because on Thursday night, for the first time since 2021, a pair of USD 501 rivals meet. It's Topeka High and Highland Park at Hummer Sports Park on Thursday, September 3rd. That game will air on Country 106.9. That will be our first of 3 Thursday night games we'll bring you from Hummer Sports Park this season, the renewal of the rivalry between the Trojans and the Scots. The following night, our first Friday night game, also on Country 106.9, will be United Kansas Conference action. We're right back at Hummer Sports Park as Topeka West plays host to Piper. That'll be a very purple football game, that one, West and Piper.
I will miss both those 2 games.
Week number 2. Well, this is the biggest no-brainer, the first thing I do when I fill out a schedule. Where's the War on 24? It's week 2 this year. It's at C.J. Hamilton Field in Silver Lake. Silver Lake and Rossville. 3 of the last 4 Wars on 24 have gone overtime. What do the Eagles and the Bulldogs have in store for us this year? We'll find out September 11th, Friday night, on Country 106.9.
Hopefully a working scoreboard and no delay in the game.
Well, yeah, that last year there were some scoreboard troubles, but it was also week 1.
Yeah.
Week 2, everybody's got the kinks worked out by then. Week 3, one of the finest ongoing rivalries, probably the best rivalry that's ongoing every year in the capital city, because these 2 teams have remained league mates. It's Seaman and Shawnee Heights in week 3. That game at Seaman, Don Pierce Field, Seaman Stadium. That is September 18th. That game will air on Country 106.9. Week 4, we've got a Thursday nighter from Hummer Sports Park on September 24th. Another city rivalry from the UKC as Topeka West takes on Shawnee Heights. The following night, we'll be back at Hummer on September 25th. Topeka High and Washburn Rural in Centennial League competition. That game will air on Country 106.9. That's the last of our planned Country 106.9 broadcasts there through that month of September. On to week 5, our first look at the 3-time defending 3A state runners-up from Hayden. It'll be a bit of a new-look Wildcat team this year, but you bet against them being a contender at your own risk. Hayden will open district play on October 2nd against Baldwin. We will have that game for you as our game of the week in week number 5. Week 6, we do something we've never done.
I'm excited for this, having written the Linden preview.
We have never done this before. We are going to bring you 8-man football on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. We will head south on 75 to Linden as the Tigers play host to Care Paravel, back at the 8-man level after playing 11-man football each the last 2 years. The last time Linden and Care Paravel played each other in 8-man football, it was in the sub-state in 2023. Care Paravel, in just their second year as a Acacia member, made it all the way to sub-state that year. But that Linden team, of course, ridiculously talented. Maybe one of the most talented 8-man teams in state history with some of the major Division I talent they had on that team. And Linden won that game on their way to an undefeated state title. The long-awaited rematch, October 9th, Week 6, 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Week 7, the third of our 3 Thursday night games, takes us back to Hummer Sports Park. Centennial League play, Topeka High battling Manhattan. And the other Centennial League game that week will air Friday night from Bowen Glaze Stadium at Washburn Rural, where the Junior Blues will welcome in Junction City on October 16th. Our regular season finale, October 23rd. We'll be back at Don Pierce Field at Seaman Stadium to get a look at the Seaman Vikings as they play host to the Piper Pirates. Week 9, round 1 of the playoffs, is the night before Halloween, October 30th. Regional playoffs set for November 6th. The November 6th, 13th sectional playoffs, November 20th, the sub-state round, and the state championship games. Sites to be announced. Those have not yet been announced by Acacia. And I understand that those are in process of being finalized. I talked to Jeremy Holliday from Acacia about that recently, and he says that those details are in the process of being finalized, where the state championship games will be played this year. But we know the win of it, November 27th and November 28th. Any of those broadcasts would be tentatively scheduled for 580 WIBW and FM 104.9, but could move in the event of a Kansas State conflict there. So
one of my biggest takeaways from this is 3 great Thursday night matchups.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Typically, they've been like Wichita or what, like KC area teams.
Yeah, we
last couple years.
We haven't gotten that local element on Thursday night quite like we are here.
Yeah.
So we have got those games coming up in the high school football broadcast schedule. Our 580 Preps game of the week. In case you missed it, again, we've got the graphic up over on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. We will get the graphic out to our social media channels in the coming days, including our Facebook page, WIBW News, our account on X, 580 Sports Talk, our Blue Sky account, 580sportstalk.bsky.social. Everywhere you can find us on the web, we're going to have that schedule up for you to peruse. As always, the caveat that I must include, schedule subject to change. But we will have high school football for you. The opener, we're really excited to see the Trojans and the Scots face each other again. Topeka High and Highland Park back on the schedule. September 3rd, a Thursday, our season opener for the 580 Preps game of the week. We're going to take a time out here on 580 Sports Talk. When we return, it's Changed My Mind to wrap up this 4 o'clock hour. But before we get there, a quick word from my friends at Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon. Oh, it really rained hard this morning, didn't it? Hopefully that's the Mother Nature getting all the rain out of her system, and we have a few days of sunshine up ahead. And if the sun is shining, you want your car to be shining. How many sides does a car have? I know you think the answer is probably 4, but it's just like a cube, right? You think it's only 4 sides. The answer is actually 6. At Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon, they know your car has 6 sides because you got to include the top and you got to include the undercarriage as well. And they take just as good a care of those 2 sides as they do the other traditional 4 that you probably instantly thought of when I asked you that question. A outstanding shine from top to bottom, a wash that fits your needs and your time frame. You can get the ultimate wash or deluxe packages, but if you're pressed for time, do the express wash. Stay in your car, go right on through, and you'll still come out shining. Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon in Fairlawn Plaza here in Topeka. Soar with the Eagle. Back after this.
W Topeka.
Changed my mind. Sorry.
I've changed my mind. Actually, I changed my mind.
Cartman changed his mind.
I did not change my mind.
I'm not changing my mind.
I might change my mind.
Nothing you can say can change my mind.
So change my mind.
All right. You heard everybody there. Changed my mind here on 580 Sports Talk. Spencer, you got one today?
Yeah, changed my mind. By the time the season's said and done, Cyrus Allen will be the Chiefs' will be a top 3 leading receiver on the Chiefs.
The way it's trending, that feels like a decent bet.
This might just be a first week of camp overreaction.
Right, and it wouldn't be the first time, right? We've all been seduced by highlights in shorts and shells, and then when it turns out that it doesn't quite look the same when they start being able to hit you, and it wouldn't be a surprise. But if you're talking about on the wide receiver group, because I still think Travis Kelce is going to be one of the top 3 in terms of receiving production as the tight end.
Yeah.
But if you're talking strictly as the wide receiver group, I mean, given the injury histories for Rice and Worthy and Thornton, if Allen is healthy, he's going to have a chance. I really do think there's something to the idea that he's building some early trust with Mahomes and some early trust as a route runner. And, if he's productive, they're going to have a hard time keeping him off the field. So, I don't know what odds you could get on that, but I think that's fascinating. And, he's certainly the early camp crush, isn't he?
Yeah.
Change my mind. The Royals should trade Daniel Lynch.
No, because they need pitching depth. That's my whole argument. They need pitching depth. He's got a couple of years of control left, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He's got some team control remaining. Doesn't become a free agent until 2029, so he's got still his 3 years of arbitration left.
So, no, they need pitching depth.
They do, and he's their only good relief pitcher right now, and it would make watching the bullpen even more painful. But the question is he actually good? Because he's not a traditionally dominant relief pitcher because he's not striking out guys at a really high rate. I don't know that I feel as though Lynch is going to be a guy that you count on to be a stopper. I think he can be good, but I think if there's a team willing to give you something for a guy with 3 years of team control left, I think you've got to listen. I think you've got to listen to those because you might not have a more valuable trade piece, especially if you're going to be stubborn about Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo.
Yeah.
Lynch might be the most valuable guy outside of maybe Lane Thomas. We'll talk some Royals trade deadline coming up, plus headlines on the final hour of 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Final hour of the day, final hour of the week here on 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you until 6 o'clock here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device on the MSC Radio app, and on YouTube at 580 Sports Talk. That's the name of the channel. With you until 6 o'clock. Royals baseball tonight at 7 o'clock with pregame coverage and a 7:40 first pitch as the Royals venture to God's time zone, the Mountain Time Zone, for the first of 3 tonight with the Colorado Rockies. Michael Wacha on the hill. Could it be his final start in a Royals uniform? Probably not, but it could be, theoretically. Tomoyuki Sugano on the mound for the Rockies. It could be his final start in a Rockies uniform. He's got 10 wins this year. He's the first Rocky to win 10 games since 2021, which is a pretty long ways away. So that's how things go for that organization. We will preview that series, the preview that few wanted and few are asked for, but nobody is more well-equipped to give you than me. I'm not going to self-indulge you for 20 minutes on an in-depth preview, but we'll talk a little baseball. We'll get into some trade deadline stuff. It does really seem like the Royals seem poised to just kind of mostly sit it out, and that would be a pretty big mistake as the Royals are, with like the rest of baseball, 3 days away from that deadline. It is Monday, August 3rd. That is the deadline this year. Usually it would be today, but they pushed it back to August 3rd this year at 5 o'clock Central. So we'll be on the air. Headlines at this rate might just be all the trades because nobody is being traded right now. There will be moves. There will be some real substantive moves. Will the Royals make any of them? It's feeling less and less likely. But
I would venture to guess over the weekend we're going to see guys pulled from games or pitchers starting.
Yep,
we're not supposed to start.
Already seeing that. Freddie Peralta was supposed to go for the Mets tonight. He has been scratched. That's been the weirdest thing about. I mean, the Mets are terrible. And one of the reasons they're terrible is that Freddie Peralta's been terrible. And he was so not terrible for all those years in Milwaukee. And I thought the Mets were getting an ace. He led the league in wins last year. He was 17-6 with an ERA under 3. And this year he's 5-9 with a 4.99. He got that Mets stink on him. So anyway, he's being scratched tonight because surely there's a team that looks at him and says, we just got to get him out of that Mets uniform and get him back to his form. And what I am hearing is that the Brewers might be that team. There's a lot of rumors out there that they might just go get their guy back for the rest of the season because he is a free agent following this season. Anyhow, more baseball talk a little bit later on in English this hour. You can text the program today. Want to hear from you. 785-272-9429. That's 785-272-9429. Also interact with us in the live chat on YouTube. Name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. And if you're watching on YouTube today, feel free to jump in that live chat. Say hello to your fellow listeners. Help grow the 580 Sports Talk community. And play music trivia because that's the new thing this week. Out of the blue, it has become
what's up with that?
It's become 580 music trivia talk in the live chat. So and look, we have never told you what you can and cannot talk about, what you can and cannot do. All we have wanted you to do is make that yours and enjoy the company of other listeners to 580 Sports Talk. And whatever it becomes, it's yours. And so I think it's kind of cool. People talked about different things, done different things in that chat, and I just appreciate very much the 580 Sports Talk community rocking with us here on a Friday afternoon. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we sure appreciate that. Wes John points out in the live chat, we also have commented on the Royals, sadly. It is all the comments on the Royals are kind of sad. now at this point of the season. But more about them later on. We got some headlines to get to. So let's dive in to some 580 Sports Talk headlines. First up, Pete Thamel of ESPN reporting that the University of Kansas Athletic Department is making a unique hire, and they have gone to the ranks of the NBA to do it. Sam Strantz is the new executive director for front office strategy and operation for the University of Kansas. Previously worked in the front office of the Houston Rockets. Thamel describes the position as being essentially a centralized general manager for the entire athletic department, and he'll report to AD Travis Goff. Thamel adds on X, the role will build out a front office model with the objective of adding value to the revenue-generating programs. So
this is a rev-sharing role.
Essentially a centralized general manager for the athletic department as long as it's the revenue-generating program. So he is going to be somebody who works to develop strategies primarily with football and men's basketball. This is a more interesting role to me because we have seen football programs have general managers.
Yeah.
Basketball programs have general managers.
Yep.
What you don't see a lot of are the non-revenue sports having general managers, and probably feel like that's maybe a little less necessary to have somebody handling NIL and the transfer portal for your softball program or your track program. There's a little bit less at stake, a little bit less money that you're dealing with. Coaches might be more well-equipped to handle all of that without the intervention of the general manager, because that's why the general manager role exists now. It used to be that the coach was the general manager. That old Bill Parcells line that if I'm going to be the chef, I should get to buy the groceries. That's what a college coach was. They bought the groceries and they were the chef. Well, buying the groceries is a lot more labor-intensive in the NIL and transfer portal era. I hate using that term, but it works. Catch-all. So we have seen that role for basketball programs. We've seen that role for football programs. I think it would be interesting to have somebody who functions as a general manager in the non-revenue sports. I think that there would be perhaps a place for that to maybe lighten the load on some of those coaches and to make sure that you have consistent NIL strategies, branding strategies, player acquisition strategies up and down your athletic department. Doesn't seem like that's what Sam Strantz is going to be. Again, Pete Thamel's description of this new role of executive director of front office strategy and operations is to build out a front office model with the objective of adding value to the revenue-generating programs. That's all like buzzword press release stuff. So it will be fascinating, I think, to see what this job does in practice. I'm not aware of any other Power 4 programs who employ somebody in that position, and interested to see if you Google the phrase executive director of front office strategy and operations, the first thing that comes up is Kansas. And the next thing that comes up is Kansas's job post on LinkedIn that says we're hiring for this position. So actually, that might be an interesting thing to peruse here.
Read
the job description. Yes, this position. Yeah, this is good on the fly reporting here.
Yeah,
this position sits at the intersection of roster economics, revenue sharing, and multi-sport retention acquisition strategy.
So a numbers guy.
You'll serve as a direct advisor to our director of athletics and work aside our football and basketball. Critically, women's basketball is mentioned here as well. To personnel leadership to shape how we allocate resources, retain talent, and maximize our rosters for the future of collegiate athletics. I would not have qualified to apply for this role because I have not spent 6 years in college athletics, pro sports, athlete representation, sports finance, or player personnel. I do feel like I understand what it takes to build winning programs in today's landscape. I mean, check my CFB video game resume.
I knew you were going to go there.
But Yeah, so that's the role. It's a senior executive leadership role, driving roster economics, athlete compensation, and operational excellence across football, men's basketball, and women's basketball. Typically, a lot of schools that would not include women's basketball as a revenue-generating program. But there's a lot of money in the women's NCAA tournament now, a lot more money than used to be in that tournament.
Well, there's also
maybe now that is a revenue generator, even if obviously not on the scale of men's basketball. Maybe now that is a revenue generator for Power 4 athletic department.
KU also has one particularly, at least, really good women's basketball player that we just discussed yesterday, Julia Davis.
They got two. We got Samaya Nichols,
and
too.
Samaya Nichols, yes, but specifically Julia Davis, a freshman. I would venture to guess maybe some teams were trying to throw some money at her this offseason, just speculation.
Sure.
But she was really good, so good that every week we were talking about a new accolade for her during the regular season. So you got to, if you want your women's basketball to be good, you got to make sure you're in there with the rev sharing and the retention.
Sam Strantz went to law school at Tennessee. I'm looking at his LinkedIn right now, but I'm not logged in, so it's not going to let me look at his full LinkedIn bio, but he listed himself as senior team counsel or associate legal counsel of the Houston Rockets. So a law guy, not necessarily a numbers guy, more of a legal guy, which is interesting. That's the direction they went with the hire. Anyhow, Sam Strantz, executive director of front office strategy and operation at the University of Kansas. He'll report to Travis.
He has a very interesting experience. He worked at Sling TV.
Okay.
And before that, he was an associate attorney in Memphis.
Okay.
And then he's
Tennessee law, yeah.
Yes, and then
UT
after
law.
Sling, where he was the corporate counsel, he was the associate legal counsel at for the Rockets in the Toyota Center from 21 to 24, and then since July of 24, he's been the senior team counsel.
There you go. Next headline, Spencer.
Yes, keeping it in college, specifically college basketball, following back-to-back postseason appearances and a 24-win season. Wichita State has signed head men's basketball coach Paul Mills to a 3-year contract extension that runs through June 30th of 2031. 58 wins through his first 3 seasons, the second most of any head coach in program history, trailing only Eddie Fogler's 61 from 1986 to 1989. I would also guess Wichita State now has some money freed up because they're no longer paying Greg Marshall.
Yes, they are out of that particular contractual obligation.
Worked out great.
So they won 24 games last year, and I don't think anybody noticed. And that's not Wichita State's fault. That's just they play in the American. And I don't think that's as relevant a basketball conference as the old Missouri Valley was. Like, if we're being completely honest, the old Valley, and I understand that the Valley is not the old Valley anymore, in part because schools like Wichita State left, right? But when you think about where Wichita State used to be, when they had Creighton in the Valley and a good UNI in the Valley, and some other good programs in that league. Missouri State had a good program. Illinois State had a couple of good years where they were, they imagined themselves as a thorn in Wichita State's side. Never quite got there, but Bradley's been to the tourney. Drake, good programs in the Missouri Valley Conference. Loyola joined the conference and was additive to the conference when Wichita State was in their last few years in the league. And now they're in the American, and the American, like the draw of the American was, well, okay, they did have some good programs, right? The American Conference, when Wichita State joined, and I want to make sure I get the timeline exactly right here. When Wichita State joined the league, you had UConn in the league, you had Cincinnati in the league, you had Houston in the league, you had UCF and SMU in the league. That was a pretty strong league. And now all those teams I just mentioned are not in the league anymore. If you had to name a flagship basketball program in the league, it's probably Memphis.
Yeah.
Temple certainly is not what they used to be. No. John Chaney is not walking through that door. South Florida's never been good. Tulsa has had some moments historically, but typically that's kind of a down program. They're good last year. And then you have Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, North Texas, Rice, UAB,
Conference USA imports.
UTSA. Who gives a
Literally
damn?
the Conference USA imports.
Like, that's just it. Who do you get excited about playing if you're a Wichita State fan?
That's the problem. But
who do you get fired up to play like you got fired up to play Drake? Even when you were a lot better than Drake, even in that run, you went to the final. They went to the Final Four. They were 34-0 the year after that. Like, you got excited for those games. Who do you get excited to play? Tulsa? Is that it? Do you really get turned to play Memphis? Are you a guaranteed sellout when ECU comes to town? Like, and again, Wichita State did not know that this is what the American would become when they made the move. They joined a league with UConn and Cincinnati and Houston, some programs with some real basketball bona fides. And obviously, when Wichita State joined it, they were in a very good run as a program. And then the Greg Marshall thing blew up, and Isaac Brown proved to not be ready for prime time as the full-time head coach. He won the league as the interim, and went to the tournament, but wasn't ready for prime time as the head coach. And just the returns have been diminishing. They're a better program now. Paul Mills has them winning, and I figured he would. He's been a good coach everywhere he's gone. He's a former Baylor assistant for Scott Drue all those years. Like, I like Paul Mills. I got nothing against Paul Mills. I've got nothing against Wichita State basketball. I just think it's sad that they're not, even as a 24-win team, they just don't feel even as relevant as they were when they weren't going to the Final Four, when they weren't 34-0, but they were still a really good program in a league that had an identity and they had rivalries, and now you play Rice.
Yeah.
And you play Florida Atlantic. And nobody cares.
You're playing Conference USA imports there. One thing I want to add, the biggest thing I think about signing him to that extension is the retention and non-roster turnover. Mills brings back 10 returners from the 24-win team.
That's a big deal. That's a lot of guys to bring back.
In an era dominated by transfer portal year in and year out, he has bucked that trend, unlike most programs in the American Conference. Since 2024, Wichita State has only lost 8 student athletes to the transfer portal in men's basketball, 3 in 24, 3 in 25, and just 2 in the offseason. So that's probably a big reason why they're signing him to an extension, not only the winning on the court, but keeping players, because, man, basketball in particular, I think that transfer portal has blown up where it's like you have one good year in the American, and you're like, you know what? I dominated the American. I'm going to go to the Big 12. I want to go to the Big 12. I want to go to the SEC. I want to go to the ACC. Like, but in these student athletes are staying for that coach. So,
next headline for me. We have talked about the efforts of college athletes to unionize over the years. And those efforts, you are quick to point out, have not been successful over time. I am of the belief that an NCAA that makes sense in the era of you're allowed to pay players now and the schools have to share their revenue with the players. If you want to see the NCAA survive and see some sanity restored to college athletics, you're going to need these kids to be able to collectively bargain with the NCAA for proper treatment, fair pay, fair distribution of revenue. But the history of the NCAA is, of course, trying to deny the athletes any share of the pie, which was successful for 100+ years, and now trying to make it as hard as they can to collect any of the pie, or trying to claw back as much of the pie as they possibly can for themselves. And now you have union efforts with a bit more teeth. We talked about Stanford football joining the United College Athletes Association earlier this week. Today it was announced more than 100 women's college basketball players have joined the unionization campaign, making them the largest group of college athletes to formally push to collectively bargain with their schools. The group aims to represent NCAA athletes across all sports and eventually form divisions for each sport to be able to bargain separately. After more than 6 months of quietly building a base of women's basketball players, they launched a campaign Friday to extend membership. Oregon State had 10 of their 13 players sign union cards, and they filed a petition to be recognized as union members and to negotiate with the university. One quote from Maryland senior basketball player Oluchi Okananwa, quote, "We are professional athletes. Although the NCAA begs to differ, we are employees." She's right. She's 100% correct. And I think you're going to see more and more of this. I'm not surprised that that women's basketball has a bit of a first mover advantage here, given that on the UCAA's board of advisors includes the current president of the WNBA Players Association, Nneka Ogwumike, and current WNBA player Cameron Brink, former star, of course, in women's college basketball. So that is the latest on the unionizing efforts of college athletes. Again, I think you should be rooting for this. If you would like to see some form of sanity, if you would like to see better roster retention, if you would like to see players stay in the same place, if you would like to see players sign long-term contracts, if you would like to see happier college athletes competing for their schools, yes, doing so is compensated professional athletes, but doing so for the schools that they attend and pursue educational opportunities. And you can roll your eyes about that for certain basketball stars or football stars, sure, but there's a lot of sports where, yeah, you're going pro. A lot of these athletes are going pro in something other than sports. And so it matters where they go. And this is something that I think you should be supporting. If you're a fan of college athletics and you would like to see some semblance of balance and sanity and reason return to college sports, collective bargaining is the way. I really believe it. Next headline, Spencer.
Yeah, speaking of players not wanting to go to pro in something other than sports, former KU Hooper A.J. Storr, former K-State Hooper Doug McDaniel are among a long list of former student athletes that are now student athletes again, as they've been granted a temporary injunction allowing them an additional year of eligibility as per the new 5 for 5, or is it 5 for 5? Is that what they're calling it?
Yes, 5 for 5.
The new 5 for 5 program. Other players, Chandel Weaver, Jason Edwards, BJ Edwards, Jalen Washington, among others in this that were granted this temporary injunction. Those players have the option to enter the transfer portal if they have yet to do so already. Yeah, we could be seeing Melvin Council's name on here pretty soon.
He's not part of that.
No, he's not part of that lawsuit. But
right.
If we already have one, I think that it sets a precedent. Then,
well, again, what I don't know is if the basis for the injunction is the same as Council's filing. I think Council's got less a leg to stand on than some of these other guys do. I think the guys who have a leg to stand on are the guys who played as freshmen. So they went 4 years, played all 4 years, and they feel like, well, hey, wait a second. Like, we can't have a fifth? What if we want a fifth? Like, what if we want a fifth year? I think those guys have more of a leg to stand on than Melvin Council. Yeah, they made me go. I had no choice but to go to JUCO because I caught a rape charge, and then my JUCO years shouldn't count, and I should get 4 D1 years. Like that to me is iffier. But I mean, I think we've seen iffy injunctions granted. Goodness knows, we've seen some really iffy ones granted.
So we could
this year.
see.
I just can't believe A.J. Storr is going to try and play another year.
He's going to try to play a 5th season at a 5th different school, probably.
And didn't he play at like 4 different high schools?
Yes, he did.
He's just a different school every single year, which is
nuts.
He
played at 3, according to this. He might have started high school at a different one. He played it at Kankakee in Illinois.
Kankakee, yeah.
And then he moved to Las Vegas to attend Bishop Gorman.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, he did. So then he attended Bishop Gorman.
Right. And then he finished at IMG Academy.
And then he went to Arizona Compass Prep.
Yeah.
And then he finished at
So
IMG.
4 years of high school, 4 different teams. He was a freshman at St. John's. He was a sophomore at Wisconsin. He was a junior at KU. He was a senior at Ole Miss.
And he could be a super senior 6-year player
somewhere else. He's going to make it 9 for 9. 9 for 9. That's incredible. That is, you'll never see that again.
No. Is he trying to get a Guinness World Record here?
That is remarkable.
Yeah.
So, all right. Final headline for us today. CBS Sports has announced that football analyst Tony Romo is on leave from his role until further notice, and J.J. Watt will replace Romo in the booth with Jim Nantz and sideline reporter Tracy Wolfson. Obviously well documented that Romo caught an OWI a couple of weekends ago in his home state of Wisconsin. Got 3 citations from the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office following the traffic stop on July 23rd. His court appearance is scheduled for September 21. He was pretty obviously inebriated, performed poorly on field sobriety tests, had an open container of alcohol in his Jeep.
Did I pass? Oh, you want me to put my hands behind my back? I need to go get my slides. I'm not. Okay.
The stretches he was doing on the car were taking me out.
Look, he played 18 holes of golf. He needed a stretch.
So, Romo's in the middle of a 10-year, $180 million contract with CBS Sports. Does he feel like an $18 million a year analyst?
Oh, Jim, he sure does.
Like, again, I think when he first came out and he knew the league like the back of his hand and he could predict plays because he was familiar with everybody's tendencies and it brought a new voice and a new excitement to the booth. Yeah, sure.
And a new angle.
I enjoyed the Tony Romo experience. And now the Tony Romo experience is, I don't know, Jim. I don't know. That sounded terrible. We apologize. But yeah, that's the Tony Romo experience these days. So you wonder if CBS might even be looking for a way out of that, to be honest with you.
Somebody said, I saw on X, Ryan Gilbert, I think, our buddy, our friend of the
Friend
show.
of the program, managing editor, GoPowerCat.com.
I think he put something on X saying maybe this will get CBS excuses to go away from Jim Nantz.
I don't know about Jim Nantz, but Nantz is still their number one football guy.
Yeah.
But
he's an Iron Eagle stan, though.
I love Iron Eagle, too.
Yeah, I do, too.
I love Iron Eagle, too. That's our final headline. Let's go ahead and wrap those up and hit a break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, you will not hear a more in-depth preview of Rockies-Royals this weekend than you will hear on this here program, because I'm the only person cares enough to give one to you. That's on 580 Sports Talk, plus some MLB trade deadline talk. Your text, 785-272-9429, coming out here on the program. 5:36 on 580 Sports Talk. We're talking about Tony Romo. They owe him $72 million over the next 4 years, CBS does. And that's $18 million a year. Text 785 said he's not even an $18 a year announcer. Andrew Marchand wrote about this at The Athletic today and included the tidbit that he's not known as an especially hard worker, which, don't
I remember when that came out like a year ago.
And they got the great example of he did the Bills Jaguars playoff game, he and Nance, this past year, and Jim Nance, Romo's big analysis of the Jaguars was, I'm telling you, they can win this game today. Like, yeah, they're the higher seed, they're at home. You don't say.
Yeah,
you don't say, Tony. Yeah, he's a bit of a fall from grace from Tony Romo, because he was like, when he came out, it was something new, it was something fresh.
Well, I think too, he
was calling plays before they happened. It was really impressive. We were all like duly impressed by that because nobody else was doing that.
I think too, it also had to deal with the fact that he was such a letdown as a player, and that everybody was like, he was really good doing this color analyst thing.
Now, letdown as a player is a little harsh. He was a very good player. He never won a Super Bowl or anything in the playoffs.
The Cowboys always choked in December.
Well, that's the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys thing.
But he was the leader of the Cowboys.
That's just a Tony Romo thing. It was the contrast to Phil Simms, because we were all sick to death of Phil Simms.
Yeah,
like that's really what it was. We were sick to death of Phil Simms. And
now we're sick to death of Tony Romo.
Sick to death of Tony Romo.
Will we get sick to death of J.J. Watt?
I'm preemptively sick to death of J.J. Watt.
Why?
I don't think he's going to bring us anything super insightful in the booth either.
Get Greg Olsen.
Greg Olsen is really good. And then he got demoted so Tom Brady could. And, like, Brady was better in year 2 than he was in year 1.
Yeah.
He was. But, like, yeah, it's kind of a dwindling number of guys that you're really happy to hear as the analyst. Like, Chris Collinsworth is well past expiration at this point.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. And like Herb Street on Thursday night he's a college guy. I don't like him on the pros.
So sometimes I like when you have a real good rookie on Thursdays, him giving analysis from college on a rookie is nice, but not on a guy that's been in the league for 15 years.
Yeah.
What was he going to tell me about Joe? This was the Thursday night matchup, Joe Flacco versus Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. No, that's an entirely a fair point. And it's too bad because I think there are a lot of really good play-by-play guys. I just don't think, that the analyst pool has been particularly well replenished. I like Aikman, but the reason I like Aikman is unlike like Romo and I think Watt probably, and certainly Brady and Collinsworth, and a lot of guys, they're afraid to say anything not nice. Every now and again, like Collinsworth will break the veil. Like, he was so mean to Kenneth Walker in the Super Bowl. Hey, he can't block and he can't catch. So, whoa, man, what?
I think
But Troy Aikman, if he sees bad quarterback play or just bad play in general, you're going to hear about it from Troy.
I also think
he does not suffer bad football.
Him and Buck have been so much better since they went to ESPN.
I think there's something to that.
Like, I did not like Joe Buck on Fox.
Guys get better. Like, Brady was better in year 2 than he was in year 1. Maybe J.J. Watt will grow on me a little bit. Yeah, I think, like, if Tony Romo were not part of the CBS crew moving forward, I don't think there'd be a lot of tear shed. I really don't. And if that's the guy you're paying $18 million to, you got to ask, is it worth it? Is it worth paying $18 million a year for a guy who's worn out his welcome? And I mean, I would hate to see anybody lose their job because they got. I mean, maybe Tony's got a real problem. Like, look, man, like, you got open container in the vehicle. That's not something I've ever done.
Well, at this point, that's on leave sends me to believe they're sending him to rehab.
And that could be. It could just be that. And if he's got a problem, I hope he beats it. I hope he's able to kick that habit and it emerges healthier and happier from it. Sincerely, I'd hope that for anybody, whether I liked him as a broadcaster or not. But yeah, it's an interesting situation because I thought, to be honest with you, I thought CBS was just going to leave that be. And just say, this will blow over by opening day. Because it wasn't a
felony or anything.
Right. Like,
this will a traffic ticket.
Yeah, there's 3 citations, and we'll just let this blow over. And by the time I don't know what CBS's marquee Week 1 game is. By the time you get there, everybody will have forgotten. And instead, they decided to make a statement about penalizing him. And when we see him again on TV, who knows?
I'll be interested to see who gets paired with Ian. Is it going to be Trent Green, Charles Davis?
Just slide everybody up in the booth? Or
are you going to give... is Jason McCourty back? I don't know if he's back because it was a 3-guy
I don't know.
there.
I don't know. They'll announce all those broadcast teams, I'm sure.
Pretty soon.
Moving forward. Can you tell we're putting off talking about this baseball series this weekend between the Royals and the Rockies? Because listen.
That's what's happening.
I can give you I can give all of you a hard time about how lucky you all are that you have the world's foremost Rockies/Royals expert right here behind this very microphone talking to you right now. What a treat. Nobody is more equipped to talk about this series and to try and dress it up and put lipstick on this particular pig than yours truly. The flip side, as expressed by this texter from the 785, I would rather hear you give me a play-by-play of paint drying, and I would be more excited. I understand, and I take no offense. But that is the series tonight, the battle of who could care less. The Rockies and the Royals at Coors Field in Denver over the course of the next 3 days. It could be Michael Wacha's final start as a Royal. As of now, he's still scheduled to make it, has not been scratched, which means there doesn't appear to be any imminent interest either in other teams acquiring Wacha or in the Royals trading their all-star right-hander. So he is set to take the mound tonight in Denver, looking for his 6th win of the season. The lineup in support of Wacha tonight, hoping to bust those notoriously kind fences at 20th and Blake in Denver. Carter Jensen will lead off and do the catching. Lane Thomas is in center field. Jack Hegley owns it first. Salvador Perez will be the DH tonight and back cleanup. Michael Massey is at second base, batting 5th. Then it's Isaac Collins in left, John Rave in right, Josh Rojas at third, Andrew Velasquez at shortstop. The Royals, by the way, could have activated Bobby Witt Jr. from the injured list as early as today, and we're planning on evaluating him today. And let us know if you hear anything, because we haven't. So I don't know if that bodes well or bodes poorly, but obviously this was the first day that we could have seen Bobby Witt Jr. back, and no news doesn't really feel like good news when it comes to an injury, especially given how the Royals have handled those this year. So more Andrew Velasquez in your life. No home runs on the year.
Tolbert.
Yeah, well, it's Velasquez tonight. They'll go up against Tomo Sugano, the Japanese right-hander, last seen last year leading the American League in home runs allowed, pitching for the Orioles. Most thought, most being me, that he'd go to Coors Field and be a disaster. Instead, he's been the Rockies' best starting pitcher, which is damning with faint praise as always, but he is 10-4 on the year with an ERA in the mid-4s. He has given up 20 home runs in 96 innings, though. So very much home run prone. Just tends to give up a lot of solo home runs because he doesn't walk guys. The Colorado lineup features a bunch of guys who will probably be wearing different uniforms by maybe even the end of the series. Jake McCarthy is a trade candidate. He's in left field leading off. Mickey Moniak, former number 1 overall pick in the draft, is also a trade candidate. He DHs and bats second. Hunter Goodman getting a lot of buzz on the trade market because he's a catcher with 31 home runs, but I don't think the Rockies really want to move him. He's batting third and doing the catching. TJ Rumfield is the first baseman. Stop me when you've heard of one of these guys. Like, these guys are in my life on a day-to-day basis, but I'm not even kidding. This is the most anonymous Colorado Rockies team of my life, and that includes the one that won 43 games last year. Because at least Chris Bryant popped up on that roster for a little bit.
Yeah.
And he hasn't played. He's never going to play another inning of baseball. TJ Rumfield bats cleanup at first base. Kyle Karros, maybe you remember his dad. He's at third base, batting 5th. Tyler Freeman is the second baseman, batting 6th. Troy Johnston in right field, batting 7th. Fun fact about Troy Johnston, he let his wife pick his walk-up music this year, and that's why his walk-up music is Mambo number 5. Brenton Doyle, your boy, Shepherd University, off the injured list and back into the Rockies lineup in center field tonight, batting 8th, and former Gold Glove shortstop Ezekiel Tovar batting 9th. So those are your lineups for tonight. Again, it would not be a surprise from the Colorado angle if McCarthy and Moniak were both traded at the deadline. Those would seem to be pretty appealing pieces. Moniak's got 17 home runs. McCarthy's got 10 dingers and 17 steals. And the Rockies have something of an organizational logjam in the outfield. So, remember those names for as long as you need them. They will, again, probably be wearing different uniforms by Monday at 5 p.m. Central. As for the Royals, well, Michael Wacha's still pitching tonight, and I think that kind of tells you all you need to know. This is the proximity to the trade deadline at which you start to see teams scratch their starters. Freddie Peralta not going for the Mets tonight. Casey Mize scratched for the Tigers tonight. Sounds like the Tigers are all in on selling, and that Skubal and Mize and others are going to be wearing different uniforms by Monday night. But the Royals not doing that with Michael Wacha. And at first, I understood that line of thinking, but the further you get into it, like if you're not willing to reinvest the $35 million you owe Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo on free agent pitchers next offseason that might be every bit as good or even better than you'll get from a 37-year-old Seth Lugo in 2027, then maybe all this is what John Sherman deserves. If that's how they're going to play this deadline. Lane Thomas is out there tonight. He will certainly move because there's no right-handed bats available. There's nobody. Lane Thomas might be the best right-handed bat that moves by the deadline, which says all you need to know. But he's still out there. No Marte in the lineup tonight. They could listen on him, I suppose. But that's about it as far as the Royals trade goes. Keep an eye on their bullpen. Did they stay off of John Schreiber, who hasn't pitched much lately? And I think they'd like to find a new home for him. Did they stay off of Lynch? Do they think about, because he might be, if they're not going to trade Wacha and Lugo, he might be their most valuable piece.
Which I think, too, the last couple of days, minus, the suckiness of yesterday's bullpen, the fact that they haven't used a lot of bullpen arms in the last two games helps them if they're going to trade somebody this weekend.
It does. It helps stay off of them. These are two of the three worst ninth-inning pitching teams in baseball. You know that well about the Royals and their 7.50 team ERA. The Rockies' ERA is in the high fives. So, buy a ticket, but come the ninth inning, you'll only need the edge of your seat with these two bullpens doing battle. It's the resistible force and the movable object, the Royals and the Rockies. We'll take a timeout, come back, some parting thoughts before we get to a final word on 580 Sports Talk. 5:51 on 580 Sports Talk, coming down the home stretch of this Friday show. Saw a news story the other day up in Wayne, Nebraska this week. They had an event. I don't know if you know where Wayne, Nebraska is, Bat. Wayne State is there.
I don't, but now that makes sense. Wayne State.
Yeah. Wayne, Nebraska is in northeast Nebraska. Pretty clear north of Lincoln. They had an event there called the North American Manure Expo.
What?
And I thought they could steal that name for the Rockies-Royals series this weekend.
That's funny stuff.
For more information, go to manureexpo.ca for some reason. North American, maybe it's a Canadian organization. I don't know.
Sure sounds like it.
Anyway. Baseball trade deadline, all basically quiet. The Twins made a move yesterday. They got so excited about their ultimate Grand Slam walk-off over the Royals. They went out and got left-handed reliever A.J. Minter from the Twins in exchange for a prospect. Minter, decent left-handed reliever. Maybe one of the better ones on the market. Doesn't strike out a ton of guys, but has in the past. He's pitched in the playoffs. He was on that Braves bullpen, and they won the title in 2021. So the Twins start acquiring, and the Mets start their sales process. The thing that has to happen, the thing I am rooting for the most, is for, and they've done this in their organization's history, I am pulling very hard for the Milwaukee Brewers to trade for Tarek Skubal. Because I think if they trade for Tarek Skubal, I know the Dodgers are the Dodgers. I know. And they feel inevitable in the postseason. But imagine if you could go Skubal and Mizorowski 1-2 in a playoff series and get those guys to start 4. That's 4 starts in a best of 7. Good luck, man. Go win a World Series. If you're Milwaukee, you've been to 1 World Series. 1. Ever. 1982. You were in a different league. Took it to 7, but lost to the Cardinals. 1 World Series ever. Go try and win a World Series. Take a shot. Take your shot. Even if you know, this guy's going to sign with the Dodgers for $700 gazillion next offseason. And whenever we play more baseball, he'll be a Dodger. Go get him for 2 months. Go get him for 2 months and try to win a World Series. That would be, to me, the most exciting move that a team could make. Go try to win the World Series. Or the Rays. Somebody like that. Somebody who's never won one. Go out and get that dude.
Yeah.
Go out and get that guy and give yourself a real chance. He's probably going to the Dodgers, though.
If he goes to the Dodgers, I give up on baseball.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be really angry about that, too. It might be one of those the commissioners got to step in for the good of the game, right?
Yeah.
The commissioners got to step in.
You are the reason we aren't having a season.
Take a timeout, come back with the final word for the week here on 580 Sports Talk. Wrap it up, B. Final word for the week here on 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis, what you got?
I got two final words here. First, I think Cyrus Allen, I hope that this is not just a 1 week or a camp crush kind of thing, because the Chiefs could really use the next guy. Because, I mean, no need to re-sign Rashee Rice with everything that's going on in his outside world. And Xavier Worthy needs to take a step up and not get injured, because he said in his post-game or in his presser earlier today that he wasn't the same all year because he was hurt last year. So hopefully Cyrus Allen is the guy that can help the Chiefs. Also, want to wish my girlfriend a happy anniversary.
Hey!
She's got some flowers and a special gift coming home.
Hey, how about that? Happy anniversary to the happy couple. Final word for me real quick. I think it's going to be a frantic couple of days before the Major League Baseball trade deadline. There will be trades. There always are. Maybe all of them wait till the 11th hour on Monday. But I do think we're going to see some movement, which means one of the reasons, maybe the only reason, to tune in to Royals-Rockies this weekend is to be on Hug Watch. Yeah. You're going to be Hug Watch in the Rockies dugout, I can tell you that. Might be Hug Watch in the Royals dugout as well. Royals baseball coming tonight, 7:40 first pitch, so a 7 o'clock pregame. Saturday, 6:30 pregame, 7:10 first pitch. Sunday afternoon, 1:30 pregame, and a 2:10 first pitch. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the rest of your sports weekend. We're back on Monday from 3 until 6. For Spencer, I'm Dan, and this was 580 Sports Talk. Have a great weekend, everyone. Good night!